Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. Total disbelief at Ford Field.
He may go all the way to the 20 down the right side, and it's Randall Cobb to the 5, to the end zone, to the touchdown. Oh my goodness!
Hey everybody, welcome to the Green and Golden Boys podcast, a Packers podcast for fans who want to wish Davante Adams a big, warm, heartfelt congratulations for beating Jordy Nelson for most receiving yards and receptions in a season. Congratulations to him.
Let's go!
Let's go. Charles, obviously we're super happy for Davante. He's an irreplaceable asset, an integral part of this team, but is it worth risking injury to get the record? And how did you feel about this team playing the starters for the first half of this Lions game?
That's actually not the question I thought you were going to ask me, but I'll answer that and then ask you the question I thought you were going to ask me. I loved it. I loved every part about the game. I actually had a hockey game at 11:30 yesterday morning, so I missed the live. I've recapped it, but I missed the beginning part of our game against the Lions, and I like the plan. I don't like 2 weeks of rest before the playoffs. I think these guys needed to, the week leading up to the Lions game, needed to prepare like it was a game day and then get a few reps in. It was indoors, so you're not going to get any rain slippage type injuries, or you would hope. And I like that we played them because it was only 22 yards that Davante needed. That's 1 or 2 catches for them. I had no problem with that strategy. Before I asked my question, what did you think about the starters playing?
I'm not sure. I'd love to see the analytics Matt LaFleur's talking about when he referenced. It's overwhelmingly in favor of playing those guys. Yep. I mean, I get it. Like 3 weeks of not playing a live game is a lot, or is tough. I think your momentum does dwindle a little bit. Your sharpness may dissipate a little bit. So I think it makes sense. Getting these guys some work. However, Rodgers hasn't really been practicing anyway these last couple of weeks, and he's been playing pretty well. Playing the entire first half, I think, may be asking a lot. Like I was really surprised they were in for that long, honestly.
Yeah.
I was expecting more like 2 or 3 series or a quarter at most. Obviously, it's fun to watch these guys operate, but I guess we're lucky that no one got hurt. Although MVS did exit the game.
MVS got hurt, yeah,
with a back injury. So, we'll see how that impacts this team during the playoffs. Hopefully, we can get him back. But
I'm guessing without any knowledge, I'm guessing we will, right? I mean, guys go out hurt and play the next week, right? So the fact that we have this bye, I think, is huge. LaFleur also said before the game, this isn't game 3 of the preseason, right? There aren't 60, 70 guys on the roster. There are only, 48 eligible guys, last week that could play. So like basically by definition, some of these guys had to play, last week that were starters. Obviously, I know you were asking specifically about guys like Davante and Aaron Jones and Aaron Rodgers, but and it's unreasonable to not start a number of these starters. Some of the guys that they did rest, like Aaron Jones, I think was wise. Did Kenny Clark play?
Yeah, he was in there for a bit.
Okay, yeah. A guy like Kenny Clark is someone that I might have sat out just because he's so important to this very questionable run defense as is. So that's someone I probably would have protected. But so much of Davante and Aaron and these other receivers is all based on timing. And to your point, since Aaron isn't practicing much anyway, I like that they got a series in, a couple series in.
Yeah, I mean it was more than a couple series. It was like the whole first half for a lot of these guys. How about Allen Lazard? I mean, he's a guy that we've all kind of we know he's a solid player. He can kind of step up when needed, but he had a hell of a game. I mean, he had 75 yards, 5 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and a couple pretty ones at that.
Yeah, how about that second touchdown catch? A little bobble and
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I should have picked him up in fantasy or something because he had himself a day. Huge and maybe that's why you play Aaron Rodgers. I mean, just give these guys even that much more. Not that I think they're lacking confidence at this point in the season, but just more confidence to go into, the divisional round and play, like Aaron said, with a bit of a chip on their shoulder. Before we get too far away from the question that I thought you were going to ask me, though, because I had a debate with this with a couple friends of mine. How do you feel about Davante breaking the season receiving record with an extra game in 2021?
I'm not really sure. I mean, he missed a game this year, so he really only did it playing 16 games. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
It is what it is. You know what I mean? He can't help that the NFL added an extra game. He probably would have broken it had he not missed a game. If there were only 16 games, he only needed 20 yards anyways.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. You can't really fault him for that. I mean, it took him an extra game, but the NFL make the rules and they have an extra game, so the record is the record, and he broke it.
Perfect. I see it the same way. One of my buddies was calling for an asterisk or having a different a different record book for the longer season. The NFL season was 14 games at one point, right? The rules have changed considerably to favor offenses. It sounds like we're in agreement, so it's not as interesting podcast radio debate. But you can't hold these guys to back in the day standards because that's just not the reality anymore. At some point, 20 years from now, there's probably going to be 20 game seasons. And Davante's record is probably going to be broken at that point. So I'm on the same page with you. You can't fault Davante, and the record's the record, and the sport's always evolving.
Yeah, for sure. It was one of those records that I mean, until the emergence of Davante Adams, I don't think any of us thought was going to be broken. But records are made to be broken, and if the rule changes kind of facilitate that in any way, it is what it is. The NFL wants these big numbers anyway, so it's better for the product, I think, in their eyes. And it's fun to watch as a fan too. It gives you something to kind of root for aside from the the regular stuff, just winning the game and these franchise records for these players are something that I know that they strive to. And to that point, did you hear Alan Lazard say in a press conference, like, hey, happy for Davante, and he's the guy I'm chasing?
Yeah.
Is he delusional, thinking he's got a shot to get even closer?
I think, yeah, in a good way, right? I mean, we're all trying to chase the best. We're all trying to, whatever profession we're in, we're probably looking at the top sales guy, the top, person at your company that you want to emulate, and you want to be like that person. So in sports, you need that chip on your shoulder type attitude, and I'm guessing that's what he's going for. I didn't hear the quote, but I don't hate it. I'm not going to call him crazy. You think he's delusional?
I mean, I don't know if delusional. I don't know if delusional is the right word, but I love the confidence. I love the swagger. I think he's. Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you shoot for the best in the business, and to kind of push you towards your best as well. So I don't think he's got a shot to break any of his records, but man, if he can get anywhere close, that's going to be a hell of a ride for us as fans. All right, we talked about Davante, we talked about Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers. Let's talk about Jordan Love. What did you like from him? Are you optimistic with his progress so far over 2 seasons, or are you concerned if Rodgers leaves that he's going to, lead this franchise into the dirt, or what do we think?
I think as a fan, it's not fair, but as a fan, we got to say to the front office, like, all right, we swung. We didn't necessarily miss, but we obviously already have an MVP back-to-back year type quarterback, right? Like, I don't understand how our front office can't do anything and everything possible to get Aaron back. Now, I have some opinions on how they do that and some of the expectations Aaron would need, but from what I saw, the Chiefs, I don't think was a fair, it was his first game, and even this was a half, and careers aren't made in a game and a half. But I mean, the passes that he missed, the picks that he threw, the conspiracy in me tells me we didn't want to win because we didn't want the Lions to get the number 1 overall pick, so that was all intentional. But yeah, I'm not sold on Jordan Love, and I would, if you ask me what I would want today, right now, I'd want us to trade him and get Aaron back for 5 more years.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'd love to get Aaron back. Obviously, I think the front office is going to. They're not going to leave any stone unturned. But I think there's a scenario where we keep Jordan Love and extend Aaron Rodgers. I mean, at this point, I don't know that teams have seen enough from Jordan Love to really want him and be willing to trade for him. So I don't know how much value he has right now, and that could be good or bad, I guess, depending on how the future unfolds. But yeah, I'm optimistic. But I was optimistic about Brett Hundley as well, and we all know how kind of that story ended.
It was disappointing to see him miss that. The one that whoever Greg Olson, the announcer, was hammering, that ball that he kind of undershot Lazard, I think it was, or if he just would have let him, I mean, it would have been 7 points before the first, when the first 2 minute before the first interception there at the end of the game, the 2 minute drill. Yep. And that was a throw where I'm like, I mean, I could even see it live. Like, oh, he didn't put you. He had him, and it feels like, that's a throw that I would have liked to see a little bit more on the money, at this stage.
Yeah, and I think, he'll get there. I think we've seen him make most of the throws, if at least in practice. You know what I mean? He's got a good arm. He's got some good accuracy. We've seen it. I think. At his level, or at in his stage in his career right now, we're just looking for that consistency. Because like we got used to with Brett Favre, you could go out and throw 5 dimes and then just throw 2 wounded ducks and throw 2 picks in a row or something to lose you the game.
Yep.
I liked what I saw for the most part. His first interception, that was not his fault. He would have had 3 touchdowns in this game if that tight end, I'm forgetting his name, doesn't drop that ball in the end zone. You know what I mean? We may be having a different conversation today after that. But
yes, true, he would have. But also the tight end post that turned into a touchdown was not a touchdown pass, right? I mean, that was missed tackle after. Sure. You know what I mean? Like, you could play that game both ways. Like, yeah, okay,
Yep.
He dropped that, but the other one was like, okay, well, how did he just run 60 yards after contact for a touchdown?
True, that's fair. But yeah, I mean, we're waiting for him to get dialed in. He's gonna start to eliminate these mistakes, I think, and any experience he gets is gonna make him a little bit better. So I'm optimistic, but obviously.
I'm optimistic like you are, but let's guys, let's figure it out. Let's figure out how to get Rodgers back. Unfortunately, if he wants to get paid and win Super Bowls, unfortunately, we're in a position where that's not us, right? Like, we need to figure out a long-term deal for him where he maybe takes a pay cut and we can keep some of these pieces around him or bring in new pieces around him, because if he's going to try and be the most paid quarterback, which he deserves to be, I don't, financially we kind of put ourselves into a tough spot. But let's focus a little bit more on this year, and specific to this game against the Lions, because we talked about playing our starters, not playing our starters, and all that good stuff. There were 2 things that concerned me about this game, which they shouldn't, because we kind of obviously took it easy on the second half. But the 2 things that concerned me about this game for our Super Bowl hopes this year was we missed a PAT. So another missed field goal. We shouldn't be missing that, even though it is the Lions and our starters aren't starting. We can't be missing those. And then, yeah, they were trick plays, but, a lot of our starting defensive, Jair wasn't in there, but our defensive corners and backs, I mean, we got pretty fooled on a couple of those trick plays, and Detroit put up 37 points against us. Right, I mean, and a lot of those came in the first half, second half, third quarter when we were playing most of our guys still. I mean, is that concerning to see big plays get